Damn, son, where'd you find this?
People don't be offended by the truth. They be offended because you called out the truth. Simple as that. They don't want to hear any other narrative that makes them look bad.
One thing I can't stand at this big grown age is somebody who act like cause and effect does not exist. Like, yes, your actions caused this outcome. Yes, what you did lit the match. Like, why are you surprised and playing victim?
Guys, Chico, they never lied.
That's how you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late, they cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after you're known. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll tolerate it.
Yo, what's going on? What's going on? Peace, blessings, glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. Happy New Year's to the good people. Week 2. I hope all is well. I hope you started this year off the way that you wanted to. I hope you're going into this second week with the same energy. Shout outs to my poets, my writers, my content creators, so on and so forth. It's good to be back. You see the title. I got the people in the building, man. Family reunion, you know. Let me bring everybody up. The only person that's missing right now is Zay. But Zay with us in spirit. All right. Sid, Coach, Rob. What's the word? What's the word?
What's goody?
Good to be back.
Right.
What's up? Happy New Year. Welcome back, everybody.
You as well.
Yeah.
How everybody doing? How was everybody weekend?
Pretty good. We got a lot of rain in the past couple of days. There's been a lot of flooding. Not here where we live, but definitely closer to the beaches. So I've been enjoying the change in the weather, different from the usual sun every day, all day. So I'm enjoying it.
Okay. Rob, what's going on? International? Your name precedes you, sir. I see.
Grinding, man. Back to the Grizzly. Like we never left, man.
Right on.
We gotta get syndicated.
Yes, sir.
Send some endorsements, man. Who's endorsing without trying to buy up souls?
Respectfully. Coach, what's up, man? What's the word?
Ain't nothing chilling, man. Just got through working with a couple clients, man. Everybody good, feeling fine. Ready to get it on, see what you got going with this topic, man. You always got some crazy shit going.
All right. We're gonna go ahead and bring this up on the big screen, man. She's mad that her husband is leaving because she cheated on him. Yeah, this is exactly what you thought it was. Hold on, let me bring this up here. I'm gonna let it rock out. Big screen.
My husband is currently packing his bags and also packing our kids' stuff because he is going to leave to another state, all because I cheated on him with a mutual friend. My husband and I have been together for a while. No, I don't think there was any issues in the relationship or marriage whatsoever. I actually thought our life was pretty perfect, but then I decided to talk to one of our mutual friends, and one thing led to another. I think I was just really tired of the fact that my husband was constantly working to make sure that we had a roof over our heads and to make sure that everything was paid. And so I just felt very lonely. So I decided that I was just going to message his friend, just like we are friends, nothing else. That was it. And then all of a sudden it just led to something else. I mean, at least I had the balls to actually tell my husband what was going on because I could have kept it from him. I could have just moved on without telling him shit. After I told him, I was very surprised about his reaction because he was not freaking out or panicking. He just said, okay, and then he said he was going to pack his shit and go, but he was also going to take the kids.
First off, well done to the man. This is exactly how you should respond to such behavior. You don't need to freak out. You don't need to go after the guy that she cheated on you with. You should actually just thank her for showing you who she really is.
All right. He didn't smack her. He didn't toss her around the room. There was no physical abuse. There was no emotional abuse. He wasn't broke. He wasn't living on the couch. He was what? The American boy. The guy that everybody dreams of having. He's just super stand up, and this is what all little girls dream of when they see that pretty little dress and this, that, and the third. And it still wasn't enough. Initial thoughts. I'm gonna let Sydney start us off, man, since you are making your return too. We'll go Sydney, we'll go Rob, and then we'll go Coach.
Man, I had a lot of thoughts going through my head while she was doing this. When I first read the title, I thought it was going to be like the husband slept with his friend, and then she was blaming I was like, okay, I guess that makes sense. And then I heard I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this makes a lot more sense. But first of all, the gall of her to be like, oh yeah, I did this because one thing led to another. I was lonely because my husband was putting a roof over her head. I'm like, he's literally working for you, and you have zero appreciation for that. Like, the fact that you even phrased it like that and said it to excuse your behavior, like, oh, he wasn't giving me enough attention because he was doing what he was supposed to do as a responsible father and husband. I'm like, and then she also was surprised by his reaction, that he was just like, all right, cool. I see the way it is. I'm done taking the kids. I'm out. And it's funny to me because this is exactly the reaction my husband has said he would have if I ever cheated on him. Like, we've talked about this a lot because we see these stories. We used to watch these videos of people getting caught cheating. They're blowing up and whatever. And he literally said the exact same thing that this husband said to her, where he's like, look, if you cheat on me, I'm just like, all right, this didn't work out. This isn't for us. You clearly have other things that you want to do, and I'm done. Like, I'm not gonna fight for you. I'm not gonna fight him. I'm not gonna do you. I'm gone. And exactly like the guy commenter said, like, that is the responsible thing to do. Like, you shouldn't be attacking the guy. You shouldn't be attacking her. He made a very responsible decision and took himself out of the situation. So I don't blame him at all. And I think she's completely deluded to think like this is this is a horrible reaction and I need sympathy for this. I'm like, girl, you made your bed, literally. Like, I just cannot believe this type of behavior and lack of, I don't know. It's like she's not cluing into the whole situation. She's just kind of not there yet.
You got it, Rob.
Was he in the Army? That's what I want to know. Was he in the Air Force? What's happening? You got a hell of a friend to be doing all that. You know what I'm saying? I believe in second chances. He's pretty smooth though. Yep, they're not 1 to 10, nothing up. They're not. You know, especially with your friends and all that. Maybe she wasn't for him in the beginning. Maybe he knew something.
Coach.
Yeah, hey, initial reactions, it sound crazy, man. Let us know what else you got over there.
One thing I want to address real quick, because Rob wasn't here for it, so he don't know. But I was asking Coach earlier about the whole military situation because the woman, she went on a date, a hinge date, and she met somebody that she thought was cool, but she told him that she was in the military and he ghosted her. So, I was asking, what is it about? Well, it wasn't even about the military specific. To me, it was about that uniform that a person wears. Like, all right, there's a stereotype on it. Whereas, like, damn, they known for sleeping around and this, that, and the third. And you said something about the Army, and it jogged my memory because I was like, I just was talking about how a guy went off and his wife stepped out on him. So I'm like, damn, bro, was in my head. My initial thoughts on the video itself, though, he handled it the way everybody should handle it. You can't control another human being. If they don't want to honor your vows or the covenant between you and the other person, you can't stop that. Don't matter if it's the job or not. Like, if a person decides that this ain't for them, they're either going to be honest or they're going to conceal it. And I would rather you tell me the truth about where we stand versus sneak around and then I gotta catch it. So kudos to him for how he handled it. Kudos to her for at least telling him the truth. It's still trifling as hell though. I'm gonna stop there. I have a question. Is you have a decent job. You're in good health physically. You're not messy. You're not in the streets. You're not creating problems, and you got a nice structure. We talk about checks and balances and having structure all the time. You got everything that you're supposed to have to cultivate a healthy relationship. But you run into specific women like this who absolutely destroy it for whatever reason. Are we fooling ourselves to believe that structure is good enough? That having all of these things as a man is good enough? Are we just too far gone in 2026 to think, oh, that's a good thing? The way that she's acting, and this ain't the first story. This is like the 80th thousandth. Oh, he was boring. I don't like routine. You know, we ain't spicing it up. Or you get this, oh, I think I don't want this anymore, because you go through like this little dry spell, and because you're not used to it, you need that dopamine hit, you need that excitement, and so you find it somewhere else. As soon as they give you that attention, now you think that they're the love of your life, and then you find out that's not what it is. Are we really just playing ourselves out here thinking routine and structure is enough? I'm gonna go ahead, you got it.
Yeah, you got to start giving us a break in between those 8 questions, man. Yeah, it ain't. I don't think it definitely is not enough, because you live in it. We keep talking about this recurring theme of the instant gratification and the entitlement. You know, people want nice houses, nice cars, the stuff that they see people have online, but nobody wants to do the work to generate the income, the responsibility and things that comes along with that. And that comes also the same things as far as relationships. Right now, it's cool. It just became cool all of a sudden for people to start getting married. You see everybody getting married, but you don't see anybody talking about what it takes to maintain those relationships. So obviously, that shit ain't happening. People ain't maintaining those relationships. We keep getting updates on how people are broken up, but you never hear about anybody going through the process, curating and how to make those things better. So that is part of structure, but that's not the part of structure that's not being implemented, in my opinion.
Said you got it.
I think there's a bunch of factors in play, where I don't think it's just the problems with relationships, because there are external factors that are affecting people's relationships. Where one, right now, we're in some of the most economically stressed times that we've been in for a very long time. And like, I think it's the number 2 or 3 reason for divorce is financial reasons. People can't agree on it. People are stressed out. A lot of people who are in financial straits have to work excessive hours to be able to make ends meet. And that can kind of create a situation where you either grow apart, or you're fighting, or you're not really having that intimacy in the relationship that people kind of expect. So I think that's kind of a factor. It maybe could have been a factor in this, where she was saying like he's working and she's not getting enough attention and whatever. But I think also that instant gratification that you were mentioning, we live in a culture today where there's thousands of sites that you can go to, or hundreds of sites that you can go to meet people, whether it's in your area, out of state, whatever. Like, there's so many groups to meet people, to find people, that I think a lot of people have that in the back of their mind, where like, oh, I can just find somebody better. And so I think a lot of people settle in relationships. They're not really thinking it through when they get in these relationships. They don't have the commitment in mind, because they just think, oh, well, if it's not good enough, then I'll just divorce him and leave and find somebody else. And so in the past, people got into these relationships almost as a financial and lifetime, like, I am getting in this because it's going to be the thing that I need to further my life and whatnot. And like, it was more like culturally established as a partnership rather than just a thing that you do when you're old enough. So there's more people today that don't really take the commitment seriously at all. They don't really see it as the, like, we're going to be in it for the long haul, so I'm going to work at it as if we're in it for the long haul. I'm going to, because commitment isn't just you put a ring on their finger, you sign some contracts, and there, you're committed. Like, it takes mental work, it takes emotional work, it takes physical time. You have to sacrifice for each other. You have to give and take. Like someone might have to work when the other person can't, or both people might need to work. You have to find ways to get along. And there's always going to be ups and downs. Like no marriage is ever like fancy roses and beautiful doves and, you know, like the type of stuff that you see on a Hallmark movie. A lot of the time, these relationships involve a lot of stress, and you have to be willing, both sides of the relationship have to be willing to sit down, compromise, work together, find solutions that work. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that work. They just kind of expect, oh, it'll find a way. I don't have to worry about it. I'm going to push it aside. I'm going to ignore it. And a lot of people also just don't have conflict resolution skills. There's a lot of people that just immediately get mad or just block it out, or a lot of different tactics to avoid confrontation, because people just don't know how to have amicable disagreements. So I think the culture, the availability of relationships, the way that it's portrayed in the media, like there's so many different things that are making people almost devalue the purpose of commitment and the process of commitment. So I think that's a huge factor. I also wanted to touch on something you said earlier about the military, where fortunately a lot of those stereotypes are true. Not the case across the board. Like there are definitely relationships that are committed. People are overseas for months at a time, but they are like, they work on the relationship. They're good for each other. But the rumors are definitely true. There are a lot of people out there that are like, oh, I'm overseas, it's my free pass. My husband hears about that all the time. He's even been encouraged by his own.
Hey, let's be careful. You're speaking in too much of generalities about military people. So
oh no, yeah. I'm not saying it's
careful.
the same across the board, but he has encountered this a lot in his job. Our neighbor, that happened to them. He was overseas for 6 months, and he ended up sleeping with somebody that he was on the ship with. A lot of the time, especially because it's close quarters, it can be very easy to engage in relationships like that. So there is definitely truth to that stereotype, but again, it's not the same across the board. Like I know a lot of people that have solid relationships. They've been together 15, 20 years, and they have a very good relationship because they have trust in each other. They maintain the relationship even when the person's overseas. They make efforts to do phone calls and letters and all sorts of stuff. But unfortunately, there is definitely that side of it where if you're overseas for a long period of time, some people are like, I can't do it. That even happened to his uncle. He ended up being stuck in the Iran crisis, and he ended up being overseas for 2 years. And his wife left him because she basically was like, well, I didn't even think you were alive. So there's a lot of different cases, but that is a thing in the military. But again, that's not always the case. Like my husband's been overseas multiple times for months at a time, and he's never done anything because we have that commitment. So I think it doesn't matter the situation. It matters the mindset of both of the individuals, whether they're in it for each other, they're in it to commit to each other and to make the decisions that are best for the relationship. That's what matters more than the situation, because people cheat for far less, as we saw here. So yeah, I think it is way more dependent on the mindset of who's in the relationship than the situation that those people are in.
Got my little notes. Attention spans are shorter. That's a fact, especially with the advent of social media. A lot of times you're most dangerous when you think you're right. And I know for a fact that projecting can be real dangerous when you start blaming
Bang, bang, bang.
for things that you feel is going wrong in your relationship. But I learned the hard way. The last thing you do is sleep with somebody. The second last thing you do is cheat with somebody they know. You want to burn your house down? That's the 2 fastest ways to get it out of there. You can end everything right then and there because you already done betrayed the person, because no matter what they was doing and he was working at that, giving your body to somebody else, that's violation. But then somebody I know, you don't know how long it was going on. You don't know, was they talking? Was they partying together? Did they work? You know what I'm saying? Like all of that, when that come in, that could be damaging. Then Sydney is absolutely right. I learned when you married, there's no days off. There's a constant relationship, and no matter what you're trying to do, you still got to have your dreams. You still got to do some of the things that you did before you got married, but you got to balance all that for your significant other. You know what I'm saying? If they need attention and that's the one you choose and they want you, then you got to get them that attention. You may not even be that type of person. You may not like watching TV, but if that's what that person like to do, you're going to watch all the TV in the world. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the sacrifice got to be, because that's what, when you find somebody you really love, I guess that's your soulmate or whatever. I heard that it's really not necessarily you loving them, it's what you're willing to sacrifice for them. What kind of issues are you willing to deal with? What kind of adjustments are you willing to make? And y'all right, life happens over and over again. So you want to make the adjustments so you're still growing on the same page. And then I'm thinking for relationships, a lot of the people, we had 2 kinds of older folk. You had the old folk that just stayed together and didn't tell their business, because a lot of them were secretive, and it'd be a lot going on. A lot of times you'll see somebody married for 40 years, 30 years, and it'd be like, oh, how do y'all keep it together and that? And they looking at you like, yeah, you don't know. You know what I mean? We had some, it wasn't all roses, you know what I'm saying? But we just chose to stay together. And then you got other kind of people who was raised by people in positive, productive relationships. And that's the type of, you got other people who are, that's what they want and they gravitate to no matter what. But a lot of times I think relationships, usually they're taught. Usually when you see people in them long lasting relationships, like, who was your role model? Oh, my grandparents was my role model. Or my mom and dad was together for 30 years, da 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 da. So a lot of that has to be learned. And then my last little thing that I'm thinking about, I'm so glad that I ain't have, was the social media tell-all. You know what I'm saying? Because now, I don't know, maybe she did it as a skit, maybe she did it for attention. It got the attention she wanted, but I'm so glad we ain't had this, because at the end of the day, like, that ain't something I would tell. You know what I'm saying? to just come out like, oh, da da da, and then it could be a learning lesson too, because a lot of times you don't miss your water till your well run deep. So you projecting, oh, I ain't getting no attention, and da 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 da. Now you might have lost your situation. I don't know if she hurting for money or whatever the case is. And then you got now too, to where she might have wondered, because now a lot of times people will get married for the stability and then break up like a week or 2 later. Next thing you in court, like, oh, you gotta pay child support, you gotta pay for this, that. So ain't no telling what her intentions was, but that's wild to me to, you come out, because most people was not gonna tell that info.
I'm gonna be honest with you. She wasn't really interested in him like that. I don't believe she was. I don't. Because if you really locked in with a person, like you actually are in love with the person, it's impossible. It's impossible for you to step outside of the relationship. You might get tested. We all get tested. But the strength within that relationship is too strong. It's not going to bend or break. Not because of an outsider. The only way that happens is if you are that weak that you allow somebody to come in, because your flesh has more power over your spiritual man, period. to be adults and not have the ability to communicate with your person about what you need and what you don't need and what you'll tolerate and what you won't tolerate is asinine. How are you up there in age and you can vocalize how you feel to the person that you lay down with, that you're either not really into them or there's some things that need to happen here for this to continue moving forward or progress. If there's no progression, what's the point? If, matter of fact, if you're not really into the person like that, why do you even bother going down that road in the first place? And to me, she wasn't really into him. I don't have enough to say whether or not that's the true assessment or not. I'm just going off of what she said out of her mouth. Nobody who got love for you talks like that. I had mad love for a lot of people. I don't talk about them. We didn't work out. We don't speak no more. I'm not going to get on the phone with nobody and start spilling a whole bunch of secrets, and I'm not doing that. Once I'm out of that, I'm out of it. You'll never have my mouth speak your name ever again, because just because I fell out with you don't mean that I'm going to give any type of attention to it. I'm not going to, nah. She wasn't into him like that to me. To say and sit here and say, well, he was a good guy and he had all this stuff going on. She didn't indicate that there was a financial issue. He didn't really say too much of anything other than she had that moment of, oh, I'm bored one day. So for let's say you go a year, 2 years straight, there's nothing but sunshine and rainbows. Everything is magical. And then one day you go through like 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks. Y'all might have got in an argument over something or whatever. 2 weeks, you're not doing the same fun stuff that you was doing for that 2 years. So that little space right there where nothing is going how you thought it would, you say to myself, oh shit, this ain't fun no more. We don't, our routine is gone. There's no spontaneity anymore. You're not sending me flowers and you're not taking me on yachts and horse carriages anymore. You're not doing all that anymore. But it's only been 2 weeks. So for that little space, you just say, oh, I give up. I'm done. And as soon as somebody steps in and supplements for what you're missing because you don't know how to go without it, you don't know how to sit in this, oh, it's just that. This is how it goes sometimes in these relationships. We'll be all right. Because my grandparents, they went through all type of shit. How we gonna do this? How we gonna do that? Why you let his badass come in here? Don't let them move in here. And this, they went through all type of shit. And they yelled and all. They ain't leave outside of the house though. Like Rob said, they kept it in. But y'all be so weak-minded these days. Y'all can't handle shit. And that's light. You think every day is going to be just beautiful? Sometimes it's not going to be like that. But that's why I say I don't think she was really into him. I yield the mic.
One thing I thought was kind of interesting that stood out to me is she really didn't, I mean, maybe it's just because that was the topic she was on, but the fact that she didn't bring up anything about the kids, beside the fact that he took the kids, also I found a little bit strange, because as a parent, if I made a mistake that led my husband to take the kids away to a different state, I'd be inconsolable. Like, I would be so beyond upset that I was basically losing access to my children. So I also thought that was a bit weird. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but to me, it just kind of like her flippant attitude towards the dissolution of this relationship, the fact that she was like, oh yeah, we didn't have any other problems. I just, whoops, one day I was just talking to the friend, and oh no, it just happened. Like, she probably has that in other areas of her life, in other areas of that relationship. And like you said, I don't really think that she was fully committed from the beginning. I just think that based on how she was acting, she was in this relationship for maybe what it could give her, or maybe because it was convenient, or, oh, I knew them for a long time, so why not? But just how blasé she was. She wasn't emotional. She wasn't showing any repentance. She wasn't showing any remorse. She was just like, whoops, he left. Tell me what you guys think. That lack of emotion is just a big red flag to me. So yeah, that was just another thing that stood out in her discussion.
I asked this question earlier, so I'm gonna spin back. Is having structure and a routine boring? Are we at the point to where the only people that really care for it is men, for real? It's like when it all boils down to it, people just want excitement. They want that roller coaster, that up and down. And if you don't have it, then you just don't know what to do with yourself.
It take a lot of maturity, man. Like everybody here is talking from a perspective of maturity now. You know what I'm saying? I'm 45, so 20 years ago, I probably would have told you the right answer and still did something stupid. 15 years ago. So, the structure is a good thing. It's a must, because you got to take care of your house. You know what I mean? You got to take care of your family. But at the same time, spontaneity is a must. And people get older. It don't feel like it. You don't think, I never thought of many. First of all, I didn't think I was going to make it to 18, let alone 21. So now add 14 more years of that, or 24 more years. It's like, oh man, if I could have did this, whatever, I might have did this. But you know what I mean? Like, you grow, everybody grow up. And a lot of people get caught up with that, to where you think that things should be the same from the beginning, and it's not. You know what I'm saying? And some things you have to let go, some things you got to fight for. So a lot of times, yeah, if that's the way y'all started, that's y'all thing, you can't forget that. Especially when you got like kids. A lot of times people want to throw it all away, and, oh, I got kids now, I can't do this, but you still yourself. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I got a business, or I work, but you still yourself. Like, you still got to do something. You can't just forego all of that, because then that just leaves you bitter and miserable and pushes people away. You know what I'm saying? So, it's good, whatever, but it's case dependent too. It depends on whatever situation they started with. We don't know if she told him she need more attention. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, from the jump, we don't know if she was for him. She might have. I've heard a lot of times, in certain cases, to where the people are married for security, not the exciting one. You know what I'm saying? Well, I married this person because they treat me good, but I really love this person, but this person is for the streets. And the same vice versa, you know what I'm saying? So we don't know the situation, but at the same time, if she was telling him she needed attention, like, hey, I know you got to work and all that, but woo, 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 then maybe he could have, you know what I'm saying? But it sounds like I'm more with Sid, where, because that could have been where she could have said, yo, you know what, I messed up. like most people, when I'm like, yo, you know what? I really messed up something good. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, it could be something that she didn't want.
I think too many people are liars, man. To be perfectly honest with you, people just they don't know what they want. Everybody's trying to be like somebody else. Everybody's clone versions of each other on the internet.
Bang, bang,
Everybody's
bang.
looking at somebody's personality. They're trying to clone their personality. They're trying to clone the way they look. You just got a bunch of replicas of people walking around, man. You know what I mean? So I think it's real interesting now that they're calling people non-player characters because it just seems so fitting. You know what I'm saying? And it seems like nowadays you may be the only person that's trying to do something, and everybody else around you just, you know, they just there trying to exist. They don't really care, man. But yeah, I think they don't even know anything about relationships. You know what I'm saying? Because you see now all these proposals, they're like fucking baby showers and gender reveals, real big proposals. Everything is just cinematic. Everything is a movie. Everything is for the gram, for online. So you're your own person starring in your own movie. That's pretty much what you're looking at. And people are just interchanging people in and out of their movie as they see fit. So they aren't really relationships. So that's why they don't look at it the same. So you're talking about structure. They have structure. It's just for what their plan is. It's not necessarily for a relationship. So I think you have to think about it from a different perspective. Is, you know, the mind state of these people. You're trying to understand what they're doing from your mindset and not their mindset. But they have structure. They have discipline because it takes discipline to get up every day and do the same shit over and over and over and over. You know what I'm saying? Now you're trying to obtain a certain result. I think we all know what that is, insanity. But, you know, but I think the things we're talking about, you know, we might be missing the mark because they're on key, man. They're on brand. It's just not for the things that we would like to see more of.
I want to touch on that routine question as well. Routine is essential for us as human beings. It's for anything living. Routine is important because it reduces your stress. It allows you to know what to expect the next day. It allows you to feel content and safe in your life because you know, like, when your food is going to come, when you will be able to go to bed, when you'll be able to see the people, or in animals' cases, the creatures in their lives that they know and need. Because for the most part, or for people, we're social creatures. We need the same people in our lives, or at least we need to feel secure, like we have a community that we can go to. So in a lot of different areas, we need that routine. We need routine so we can expect what we're going to be doing in our day. And especially in a modern world, routine is incredibly important, especially for people that struggle with like maintaining habits and stuff like that, because it can facilitate maintaining order in your life, which is important for your mental well-being, for your physical health, for your success at work, for your success in relationships. And so every person needs routine. It's just a lot of people aren't very good at maintaining it because they they allow the boredom to let them fall off those routines instead. A lot of people are intolerant of the drudgery now, and they'll just kind of like, oh, I'm bored now, I don't need to do that, even though it is beneficial for them to maintain that. That being said, we are highly intelligent creatures, and monotony is not good for our brain. We do need things in life that stimulate us, that bring us life, that give us some amounts of joy. It's just, I think a lot of people don't even know where to find joy in their lives. Like, hobbies are more expensive than ever. People are not being very social, or they don't have very many friends. They tire themselves out on social media rather than on in-person exchanges. And so we've, as I kind of said in the comments, people are mistaking excitement for satisfaction. They think that, oh, well, this friend is really exciting. We go to these clubs and we go to concerts and we blah, blah, blah. But that friend isn't someone they can talk to when something goes wrong. They can't commiserate with them. They can't ask for advice. They are getting in relationships that aren't actually fulfilling their needs or fulfilling the other needs. They're just fulfilling the one need that they expect comes with the relationship. So I think routine is important, but we also need diversity in our routine. We need that enrichment. We need those things that, as I said, like give us excitement, but we can't expect that excitement to persist all of the time. As we know, too much of a good thing turns into a bad thing. And I think a lot of people, with how highly stimulating this world is, how easily you can get basically any possible thing that you want, sweet foods, addictions to certain materials, access to any person in the world. People are like, indulgence is super, super easy to acquire nowadays. That I think it's a lot easier for people to not have routine because they're busy chasing one thing to the next. And so the tolerance for boring is not there anymore. Very few people know how to be bored. So I think it makes it so routine is almost acutely painful because we're so used to getting whatever we want whenever we want that when we don't get to do exactly what we want, it hurts us. So in a way, routine is actually an important practice because it allows us to be okay with boredom. It allows us to be okay with doing things that we don't want to do, which in the long run allows us to be more resistant to overindulgence and stuff like that. So I think routine is important, very important, but I don't think people are comfortable with it anymore. And again, there are some people that are, I've noticed there's a culture now of people reining back on indulgence and practicing like asceticism, minimalism, like various forms of denial to bring routine back into their life, to bring boredom back into their lives, because that is good for us. It's just a lot of people don't do that anymore. So I think that could be kind of a mentality that's affecting these relationships where they confuse boredom for lack of satisfaction, because you're always going to have bored periods, but it's important to essentially coach yourself through those situations and recognize, like, yeah, there's going to be lulls. There's going to be times where the relationship isn't exactly dreamy and what you want. But if you're truly committed to that person, you have to be willing to go through that drudgery to get to the good side. As I like to say, you have to get through the rain to see the rainbows. So, yeah.
So, all right, we got a nice gumbo of wisdom up here, and I love it because what I'm about to say is going to resonate for some people. But I want to give you an example. Think about all of this specific subject and what this woman said and why these conversations happen. Routine and structure is important for building a foundation. Are you going to build your house on sand? No. But we know why. It's no different than your relationships and your business partnerships and all that. The reason why a lot of men and women go wrong in these situations is because, one, like Coach said, nobody is themselves. If you were living your true identity and you were really being who you are, you wouldn't have so many of these problems. You eliminate 99.9% of the bullshit that is going to be problematic in your life. Just being yourself. Because if I like anime and I like this and I like that, everybody ain't gonna like it, so they're not gonna want to be around me. There's only certain people that's gonna want to blend in with that or compliment you. You want people that compliment you. In order for them to compliment you, they have to know who you are. And if they don't know who you are, they can't be who they are with you. Unless one of you are pretending to be something, and then you can only sustain that shit but for so long before they call you out and they're like, damn, hold up. You started out like this at the beginning. What happened to that? This is different. I didn't sign up for that. I think a lot of people do that. And a lot of you get into situations knowing that you have no real intentions on doing anything or going any further with the person other than extracting what you can out of them while you are there, while also planning your own exit strategy somehow, some way. But being boring or bored does not actually mean you're bored. People think I'm boring. People think I be bored. I don't be bored. I like my quiet. I like my silence. But here's the difference. What you think is boring to you is not boring to me. Right? Because who wants to be around loud people all the time? That shit is draining. I'm like an introvert, extrovert. I can be around you, but I need time away from you too. I need to reset, recharge. And there you go. Give me some TV. Let me do a little social media here and there, and let me read here and there. I'm probably the most random person in the world. I don't like to be around bad energy. That doesn't mean I'm bored or I'm bored. It's like a weird structure without structure, if that makes sense. I know how to dip in to my routine and come out of it. So I can say at 8 o'clock I'm gonna do this, but I can also say at 8 o'clock I'm not gonna do that, and I'm just gonna do some random shit. You was about to say something? I ain't gonna cut your wisdom.
No, you said you know what I'm talking about. I was saying I don't.
Oh, no, yeah. No, but I'm just saying, like, when you know yourself, you know how to kind of tap into different parts of you to keep.
Let me disagree. Just give you some pushback. I think a lot of times, and that goes back into what I said earlier about people be lying, because I think people don't know themselves. I think people try to create a version of themselves, and people typically do that because they think they've healed over their past traumas, just because they may choose to forget about it. But if you don't, and what happens, man, is a lot of times people don't even know what their triggers are. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say you have to be careful, because people don't know themselves. And that's where the whole thing is. People come in trying to be like other people. And then, like Rob said, projecting on the people, because you may know yourself, but you may not know how to articulate yourself to somebody else. So that way that they can understand yourself. If that make any sense? Because that's also a part of communication. It's not just fuck it, take it out how I am. If you're really trying to communicate with somebody. So that's what I'm just saying. You may know yourself, but you may not know how to articulate yourself. And that's what we in the Black community struggle with a lot of times. nonverbals, facial expressions, threatening gestures, and half the time you would be like, when you finally listen to somebody, oh, I didn't even know I was doing that. You know what I'm saying? So you just have to be careful sometimes. Say you know yourself, because I can give you a personality assessment right now or this evening and guarantee you don't know half the things about yourself that you think you know. So you got to always be willing to be open-minded to learn more about yourself. So you never know everything in totality about yourself, because you're learning different things every day, every time you interact with somebody. But you may not understand or identify when you're picking up those other traits or things from somebody else. You know what I'm saying? If that don't make sense, then fuck it, keep rocking. But I just wanted to give you some pushback right there.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. I learned the hard way what I like and what I don't like. Like, and I'm still growing. That never stops. Never stops. But I can tell you who I want to be around and who I don't want to be around. I know who complements my way of doing certain things and who doesn't. I might not know every single thing. I might not be the greatest at communicating certain things, but I'm further ahead than I used to be. And I don't think a lot of people are. Which I agree with, especially in this particular situation. You don't want to spend 5 years of your life with somebody who isn't really being who they want to be. Like I'd feel real fucked up if you was forcing yourself to be around me and you really didn't want to be around me. Cause I'm thinking like, damn, here I am. I'm assuming we good the whole time.
Key word, you said you assume.
Yeah. I'm assuming because the communication is not where it need to be. Like if you telling me,
what I'm saying is, I mean, it's something to talk about right there, because just she could have assumed too, or he could have assumed, because we haven't mentioned the guy once. We've been talking about the girl for the last 57 minutes. So maybe he did assume that. You know what I'm saying? So what's something that we can point out to help somebody who may potentially be in a relationship like that?
I think opposites attract, right? Most of the time when you get somebody you fall in love with, your intentions be right. You think you could do it forever. But again, you got to make adjustments when the thrill is gone. And I think one sign of love is the ability to be bored together. Because like Sydney said, every day ain't gonna be no excitement. Like I had to catch myself. I had one time where I went on vacation for like 3 weeks in a row. And then the next 3 weeks going to work and all, I was depressed in the mug. Like, man, hold on, I can't do this no more. And then I'm realizing like, wait, I was sauce all weekend. You know what I'm saying? 3 weeks straight. And now I'm coming down from here, there, riding around, going crazy. And then all of a sudden, I'm stuck on the couch. I'm feeling like money ain't right. Not realizing I just blew it 3 weeks in a row. And then I'm coming down off the excitement of being, you know what I mean, of running around. So I had to learn to check myself. You know what I'm saying? And the one thing that what I agree with Coach is that we change every day. You know what I'm saying? When you wake up tomorrow, you're not gonna feel like you felt yesterday, right? But the one thing you do know, if you got that person, you know what, I may not feel like this today, but at the same time, no matter what, I ain't finna do nothing to violate our bond. You know what I'm saying? I ain't finna do nothing. And like I said, that came years way after a ton of mess ups. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't want to do celebrity gossip, because I know, you know, and I ain't nowhere near it. Hey, listen, if TMZ come see, point out the good. I've been good for a couple years now. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know how long. Might not be that good now, but at the same time, I know I stop a lot of my bad ways, and I do my best not to bother nobody. So I'm with you deep to where when you work so hard, you try to keep yourself away from people with negative energy, and you learn. But like Trell did say though, if you assume, okay, I thought everything was okay, that happens all the time. You know what I'm saying? You find out people got double lives. People lie from the jump. Again, what they could get. Woo, woo, woo. Like I said, she, you know, the scary thing is that she just jump on social media with it, because that ain't something you might talk to your friend girl, or you know, or reach out to him, or you might talk to your parents or something. But you know, but again, that's me from a different era. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you grow. I think when you started with good intent, you don't think it's gonna end like, you know, everybody know that honeymoon stage. You know what I'm saying? It usually take your parents to be like, hey, that ain't the person for you, and that make you go to the mall. You be like, oh, you're just jealous. You must want them, and da 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 da. And then you come back, and if you humble, when you got that pie on your face, you like, oh, you know, you was right. If not, you know, you just go and make the same mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people think.
Yeah, let me ask you a question, because you said that right there, right? Because one thing I want to address is absolutely stop, because he said assume, because that's the fault that most people make, and even though they got good intentions, you got to identify with, just because you're assuming something, that's not communication, right? So then the accountability piece comes in. It ain't just the other person's fault. It's also your fault, the role that you play in it by assuming. You know what I'm saying? Because we talk about checks and balances all the time. So what about trust but verify? I'm trusting this is still going great. Let me check up, you know, get a few feelers to make sure we still on the same level, right? Because we do that at work, we do that with everything else. We got checklists, we got everything else to make sure we still maintain above 500. You know what I'm saying? So it's just little ways you can incorporate that into your everyday life. You know what I mean? Not assuming, hey, I just want to make sure we good. Whether it's a slap on the ass or, you know, a pat on the shoulder, whatever y'all do in your household, that's on you. But you should always be checking the temperature, man. I mean, because you're going to do it everywhere else you go in life. Why would you not do it within your house? And then you're teaching everybody else how to communicate. You know what I'm saying? So then now everybody's communicating. You got that machine going versus one person one way, another person another way, and everybody trying to figure it out after the shitty day that everybody had, from the kids to the oldest adult. Everybody had a shitty day, and everybody want to be treated right. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of stuff that be happening in the crib. But you know, and nobody's saying it's gonna always be perfect, but you know, you just putting out solutions instead of talking about the problems. Is how can we do these things every day in our own household? You know what I mean? Make a change.
Yeah, communication is key, and behavior. Like nothing says you're willing to go for it more than change behavior. You know what I'm saying? You might not like a lot of things. You're not gonna like, once the honeymoon stage is over, you're not gonna. Sometimes you might wake up like, what did I do? But at the same time, when you grow up, you're able to look at the bigger picture. Then hopefully you could wake up and say, you know what, this was the right decision. You know what I'm saying? And it's like Groundhog Day. You got to do it every day. Just hope that in the end it work out.
So we keep talking about honeymoon stage. The last one, and I'll pass it over. So you just talk about the things that what made it a honeymoon stage for both people, right? And then as you grow, how does it continue to be a honeymoon stage? Because you're not going to have the same wants that you had back then. So, you know, as the relationship nurtures and you're keep constantly having that communication, hey, what can I do to make it still feel like a honeymoon stage? Because it's not going to be sex, you know what I'm saying, 23 hours a day as you get older. It may be, hey, I need 5 hours to myself. I need to go play golf. You know what I'm saying? I need to go hike, whatever it is. And that's still honeymoon stage because you're happy, you're communicating about it. It's just not in the infancy stages of the relationship. So again, you know, so we don't get caught up on titles, because I know we talked about it before. We know, is honeymoon stage really a thing? It's only a thing because you call it that. You can call it quarters, chapters, verses, whatever you want to call it in your relationship, your book, your pages, and your chapters. And then you know, you can label it your own.
The same way you met them, that's the same way you maintain it. unless you are being a liar, like you said initially. Most people are lying. You're not really there for the intentions that you say you are, and that's when shit goes south. If you are doing the same thing that you were doing at the beginning, there's no reason why you shouldn't be doing it as you progress in the relationship. It should be organic. It should be natural. It should flow. Period. I don't see so I don't know what's so difficult about it unless you're not really authentically. You're not going to be like perfect sale, and even perfect sale stole his identity from 20 different people. You're not going to be your perfect self. But you're going to be in tune with yourself enough to know that the person that you're dealing with, they are probably on the same playing field as you. Like your purpose. You're on your purpose. If you're on your purpose, more than likely you're going to attract people that's on theirs.
You gotta learn, not to cut you off. You gotta learn too. You know what I'm saying? Because like 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 Coach said, everything ain't gonna be all rosy. So you gotta learn too after a while to like, okay, you know what? After all this time, I like doing this, I like doing that. How can we balance? And you gotta learn your partner. You know what I'm saying? You gotta learn your partner for real, for real. You gotta watch them like a hawk. You gotta learn what make them tick. You gotta learn what piss them off. You gotta learn, you know what I'm saying, who's around. You know what I mean? I don't know about all the GPS or whatever, but you gotta learn who they interacting. You know what I mean? Where they work. You know what I'm saying? What they need. You know what I mean? Like what do you need? What may I do to make your day special type stuff? You gotta learn, and the hardest part is that there's no days off. You know what I'm saying? Because you be thinking a lot of times. I think too. I wanted to say this a minute ago, and I know we about to be pressed for time. A lot of people want to have portray the image that they got it all together, and I hate to say perfect, but a lot of times people will stay in a relationship because they scared to break up because they scared to see what their friends are gonna think or what they don't want to feel like a failure, right? So you will sit there unhappy, or a lot of times you got kids. Well, it's for the kids, and I'm against staying together if you're unhappy because I believe that will hurt your kids. Your kids will learn how to stay in unhappy relationships, and especially if it gets toxic to where y'all fussing and fighting in front of the kids, or even if you don't got. I'm like you, deep. Like if I come in the house and my lady on the phone and she like, I gotta get off the phone because there you go. Or I come in the house and she gotta go in the room. Like that's a, you know what I'm saying? Like yo, I gotta tighten up. So a lot of times you gotta, like Coach said, you gotta get your finger on that pulse every single day. Cindy said it too. Where you at? Where we at with this? How you feeling? What you really want to do? You know, where are we today from where we want to be, and what do we need to do to get there? And I think that only comes when you find your person, and then your person wants to be with you. Because you could try to project that on a person all the time, and they'll be on a totally different. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen it. You know, I'm gonna give this person 6 months and all of that, and that's wild to me. Like 6 months ain't much gonna change from 6 months. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, yo, okay, you know, I don't not. That's why I don't counsel adults. You know what I'm saying? But when you find that person and you really got a person that's genuinely for you, I think that y'all are gonna do those things every day, and it's a give and a take. You can't just be on the take all the time. And a lot of times when you think something is wrong in a relationship, most of the time it be something you doing. Because like you said, Coach, you is not finna do the same thing every single day and get no different results.
You gotta see it.
I just want to say I can definitely attest to this. Where this is something that my husband will do for me. Where and I'll do the same for him. If I'm in an off mood, if he notices did something that upset me, if he feels like I'm just kind of off, he'll frequently check in and be like, "Hey, I'm did I approach this incorrectly? Like, how should I handle this in the future? Is this going okay for you? How are you feeling? Like, he'll make sure that I'm comfortable in this relationship, and I will do the same for him. I'll ask, like, am I doing enough? And is there anything I can do better? And we'll both do these check-ins quite frequently just to make sure that both of us are on the same page. Like, even as simple as, like, are you happy? Like, are you enjoying my company? Like, do you enjoy hanging out with us or hanging out with me? Like, what do you like to do with me? We can do more of that. And I think that type of stuff, as simple as it is, it makes a huge difference, because not only do you begin to understand your partner, but you're also showing that you care about your partner. You care how they feel. You care where they're at. You want to do better. And that effort to do better goes a very, very long way in relationships. So I think that's something a lot of people everyone should be doing it. If you're in a relationship, you should be checking in to know where they're at, instead of just assuming that, oh, well, they seem happy, so they must be happy. Because you never know. A lot of people aren't going to voice concerns that they have. They're not, like, some people don't even know that they're unhappy in certain areas until you ask, and it opens them up, and they're like, oh, wow, I didn't even know I felt that way. So opening yourself up to these conversations, and also being willing to take that, it sometimes could be criticism. A lot of people get very defensive if you give them any bit of, like, oh, you're doing this wrong. So you have to tactfully approach it, obviously. Like, you shouldn't berate them, be like, you never do the blah, blah, blah. But you need to be open to giving that critique and receiving that critique, and be willing to take that critique and actively do something with it. So yeah, I definitely agree with everyone about that, where to maintain a successful relationship, both people have to be in tune with each other.
I think a lot was said here. I'm not going to add anything else because I think it was pretty much articulated here. I think everybody has some excellent points. You don't stop growing. You don't. Until the good Lord say it's time for you to stop growing, you don't stop growing. You know what I'm saying? So, food for thought for everybody. I hope this helped, you know. Glad to have everybody back. Miss Zay here, but we're gonna get bro back up here and cut it up again. I want to say thank you to everybody here. Shout outs to the people in the building who was in the comment section watching, and everybody at home alongside them. Glad y'all could be here. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. See y'all tomorrow, Lord willing. Do me a solid before you go.
Push the goddamn button.
Peace.
Have a good night.